All right, so today I'm going to let you in on some secret. It's an open secret in the grace community, a secret nonetheless. And so I'm here to expose them. I'm here to expose the grace community. I'm here to expose us. Seriously, I'm sure you've noticed that among the grace community, in the grace community, you've seen some guys' social profiles with names like Beloved One of God, or Daniel Beloved, or James Beloved, or Anna Beloved, or Sandy Favored, and so on and so on. I mean, you see these Christians act as if, they're the ones loved most by God, as if they're loved more than everyone else. I could say I'm also guilty of that, yeah? If you look at my Instagram. Anyway, so today I'm going to tell you where this behavior comes from and why we do it, and why you might also want to join the bandwagon. You have 5 seconds to answer.
What?
5 seconds to answer. So I'm going to ask, who is the disciple that Jesus loved the most? Who is the disciple that Jesus loved the most? Of all the 12, who did Jesus love the most? It's John, right? That's the thing. It's not John. Jesus didn't love John the most. Yeah, but you may say,
Billy, I'm sorry, Billy, the Bible says that.
yeah, and it does say that. So this is what happened. We see the phrase, the one whom Jesus loved. We see it only in one gospel, and that's in John's gospel, right? It's about 5 or 6 times in there. And so what guys are doing is basically the same thing John did. They're acting like they're the hottest thing on earth in the eyes of Christ. And there's nothing wrong with that. And so today we're going to see the advantages of that and how it makes sense in the Christian life. All right? Hi guys, my name is Billy and I'm the administrator of the Father's Love for You, online ministry that focuses on God's love for you, as the name suggests, obviously. So make sure to check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and whatever other social media there is. And also don't forget to check us out on YouTube and subscribe right there. Yeah, subscribe right now. So that's why right there is my assistant. Her name is Minnie, and she just keeps things lighted up. Yeah.
Hello.
We all need assistance. It's not like, yeah. Anyway, let's get into serious business. All right, so like I said earlier, this phrase is found 5 or 6 times in the Bible. Each phrase might have a secret for us. It might have a teaching and a truth for us today. All right, so I'll first start by looking at the most outstanding of this. This can be found in John 19:25 to 27. Therefore the soldiers did these things, but standing by the cross of Jesus were his mother and his mother's sister, Mary the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene. When Jesus then saw his mother and the disciple whom he loved standing nearby, he said to his mother, "Woman, behold your son." Then he said to the disciple, "Behold your mother." From that hour, the disciple took her into his own household. This is a small reading, but I think it's important for you guys to understand that this is a big deal. And why it's a big deal? It's a big deal because this is Jesus at his time of need. He was at his lowest moment. He was in the most pain in his life. His own disciples ran away from him. Even Peter, the one who saw he will always be by Jesus' side, the one who promised that he will die for him, even he ran away. Peter is a good example of someone who is boasting of his love for God. The typical evangelical, right?
I love God so much, I'm going to do this for God. I'll sacrifice for God. I do my best for God. I'll never leave him. I'll never disappoint him. I'm always there for him.
Yeah. There are guys like that, believe it or not, there are guys like that. And Peter is a good example of it. Someone who has zeal, but the zeal is misplaced. He's boasting of his love, him being a human being, his finite love for God. Yeah? And the results are obvious. Peter ran away. And even after running away, he's given a chance of redemption, and he was a coward, and he said, nope, I don't know that Jesus. And he swore 3 times with cursing and swearing. A foul mouth rant, basically saying that he does not know Jesus, and he ain't gonna do with that guy. So that's the result of boasting for your love for God. That will always be the result. Yeah, you'll always be found wanting. You'll always be found lacking. John, on the other hand, someone who thinks it's the best thing since sliced bread. John, who personalizes God's love for him by writing that he's the disciple whom Jesus loves. John was there at the foot of the cross. He was there with Mary and the other women. He was the only disciple who was there. And for sure, he was not trying to be brave. He was not trying to get a reward or anything. He was not trying to gain points from Jesus. He was not trying to outdo anyone. It seems that he was unconsciously there. Or should I say that his service was supernaturally natural. He wasn't trying to do it. He just ends up doing it because he's driven by love. Love that he has received, love that he's convinced of. It just led him to love him back. And the result was wonderful. He was the only one who was there for Jesus at that time. He comforted both Jesus and the mother. That's an honor, right? Great honor. And it's no wonder that he later wrote in an epistle, in his epistle in 1 John 4, he says that we love because he first loved us, right? We love God, we love others because he first loved us, because we receive his love first. And so we must be conscious of his love. You must be conscious of his love. And that's why when he writes, he's a disciple whom Jesus loves. And that's why when we write that, we're the disciples that Jesus loves, and so many in the grace community say that they're the beloved or the most favored, we are simply practicing the conscience of his love. Knowing that your love produces results. It produces fruit. Yeah, it will produce fruit. Sooner or later, it will produce it. So don't worry. You receive his love and, walk in his love. All right? That's all you got to do. In the other instances where we see John boasting of God's love for him, of Jesus' love for him, we see hints of discernment and faith and discernment that the other disciples did not have at the moment. An example of this can be seen in John 13, verse 23 to 30. So this is during the Last Supper. The disciples began looking at one another at a loss to know which one he was speaking, which is Judas, right? There was reclining on Jesus' bosom one of his disciples whom Jesus loved. So Simon Peter gestured to him and said to him, "Tell us who it is of whom he is speaking." He, leaning back thus on Jesus' bosom, said to him, "Lord, who is it?" Jesus then answered, "That is the one for whom I shall dip in the morsel and give it to him." So when he had dipped the morsel, he took it and gave it to Judas, the son of Simon Iscariot. It's funny that you see that Simon Peter, the one who boasts of his love for God, decided to ask the one who's close to Jesus and ask him, hey, who's the one who's going to betray him? I think it's also a beautiful picture that John was there lying on Jesus' bosom. It should be awkward to be lying on another man's bosom, right? But he didn't care. He didn't feel too strong. He didn't feel too stoic. He didn't feel too capable. He simply lay on his chest. He may be the youngest disciple there, but he didn't care what others thought.
John, you should be stronger than that. Oh, John, you should be a man. Oh, John, you can't just lay on Jesus as if he's your mother, as if he's your parent.
But John didn't care about all that. In his mind, he's like, the good shepherd is here, and as the sheep, as a lamb, I will lay on him. I will rest on him. I don't care what nobody thinks. I will rest on him. That's the mindset we should have today too. Yeah. Don't be too strong and don't be afraid to be loved. Rest on your Father's love for you. Don't be afraid of it. And so that's a closeness and an intimacy that the other disciples, for whatever reason, weren't taking advantage of. And so what do you see? They have to ask John to ask Jesus to do something. Even they can sense that John is close to God. They notice that he's in a relationship with him. And so are you today. Take advantage of that relationship. Even Paul himself, the guy who wrote most of the New Testament, he personalizes God's love for him. He makes it as if Jesus died for him only. This can be seen in Galatians 2:20, the second part of it, when he says, I now live by faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave his life up for me. Yeah. It's as if he didn't die for the Galatians or anyone else. He just died for him. We should learn to personalize that love. Yeah. Don't be like, Jesus loves everyone. No. Make it Jesus loves you. You personally. He loves you personally. And so don't be like Peter. Don't be like the ones who boast for their love for God. Don't be like those guys. No. Their zeal is misplaced. We should boast of God's love for us rather than our love for him. You are loved. You are loved deeply. And it's real and it's forever. And there's nothing better than it. Alright? So make it personal. Like the many guys in the grace community, yeah? Say it. Accept it. Know that you are the saint that Jesus loves. Put your name there. Yeah? You are the saint that Jesus loves. Alright? Remember, it's his grace, it's his love, it's his kindness that teaches us to say no to ungodliness. Right? Alright, so that's it for today's video. That's it from me. That's it from Minnie, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for your support, and thanks for watching the videos. And you guys are just the best audience on YouTube. I really appreciate it, and yeah, remain in grace, and see you next week.